And welcome once again to another episode of the HoriZone Roundtable. I am Bob McDonald, and you can find me on Twitter at Bob McDonald. And joining me, of course, is my co-host Jimmy Lemke.
Hello, everybody.
And Jimmy Lemke, of course, you can find him on Twitter at PantherU, and you can follow the podcast on Twitter at HoriZoneRT. And well, Jimmy, the regular season is over, and we get a break. We get a week off. So
we do get a week off.
We do get a week off, but not for lack
of teams being inept.
Yes, for team. Well, I mean, for team. Well, let's see here. To be fair, it's and I have to disclaimer this for teams being inept. One team being inept at the beginning of the season, and team being inept at the end of the season.
I think we were just fairly inept the entire time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you lost 11 in a row. I mean, the only thing that was helping, yeah, Milwaukee loses 11 in a row, and man,
it's too bad that they didn't. Yeah, if they had just lost that one more in a row, we would have all gotten free burgers at George Webb's.
There you go. So I didn't realize that.
I have to explain the joke. Anybody from Milwaukee is going to laugh at that,
okay.
And actually people from Green Bay too. So we have a diner franchise in Wisconsin called George Webb's.
Okay.
Now George Webb's is kind of like that 60s diner vibe, like all the time, where it's like a small version of a family restaurant. But it's all like a diner, like a lunch counter at like the corner of a building. Mm-hmm. So with George Webb's, they have a promotion. They've had a promotion with the Milwaukee Brewers for years, where if the Brewers win 12 games in a row during the season, everybody gets a free burger at George Webb's the next day. Like until this year, the last time they did it was like 1987. And there would be like hundreds of people lined up at every George Webb's while the people like frantically are cooking burgers.
Sure.
And I thought it would be funny if we made a joke about the Panthers being one short of getting everybody free burgers by losing 11 in a row.
Yeah. So while our teams have decided to, and it's crazy because and I'm sure, while you have your futility, I have mine that was actually kind of spotty near the end. I mean, Cleveland State did actually go 5-5 in the last after going 0-8.
It looked like they were going to be like a middle of the road HoriZon League team.
And if you discount the first 8 games of the conference schedule, they were in fact a middle of the road conference team. But no. I mean, the futility of the first 8 games of that just basically screwed their season into the ground, and that they rallied back into mediocrity is probably progress in and of itself. But
so here's my question for you on
yes.
that. This was a bad year for Felton in year 2.
Of course it was, yes.
So, my question to you is this.
Yeah.
If you're being as fair as possible to Felton.
Yeah.
How many more years do you get with him before you decide to make a change?
He gets 1, and here's the reason why. Because right now, like as I've said many times, he's safe. The only way unless a cardboard cutout of former athletic director Mike Thomas is running the show, and by the way, given it's Cleveland State, you never know. He was always getting another year. Here's the thing, though: he gets another year because he's got a new guy he's gonna have a new guy to impress next year. He's gonna. It's a foregone conclusion. I mean, this team has to do better next year, without a doubt.
Do we know?
You can't cram.
Do we know how long the original
finals
was? How long is he under contract?
He is under contract for 5 years. And actually,
5 years total. So he's only got 3 left after this.
Yeah. So it's a 5-year contract. So
Do you know what the buyout is on his contract?
A boatload. Because apparently there's no as I understand it, there's no buyout provision. So, I guess he's making $425 a year. So
to bring this,
yeah,
he's making. Oh, sorry, he's making $250,000 a year.
Oh no, he's making $425 a year.
Oh, okay, $425 a year.
$425 a year. First 2 seasons, 100.
This is sounding really familiar to Panther fans.
Yeah, so 100,000. So the first 2 years, 100,000 was in deferred compensation. So he's not getting. So technically, for the first 2 years, he's getting paid $325 a year, but he will get that money's after year 3. That money's fully vested, so he'll get that money. So.
Yeah,
you're fooling no one. It's I'm sure it's some fancy schmancy accounting thing to to do whatever. But yeah, that's so he's getting $425 a year, plus he's getting, I guess, another $25 for media appearances, which at this point in time is his coach's show that you can't find online unless you're actually listening to it live, which is outstanding work over there.
I have a copy of Baldwin's contract somewhere. I know Jeter made like $6,000 or $8,000 for his media appearances, etc.
So apparently and again, that is across 5 years. Now, for reasons that escape me, the provision. Dennis Felton actually has a provision in his contract where it actually states that if he indeed quits, there's a certain amount of money he has to pay back if he quits, evidently.
You're stuck here. And he's like, it's my last chance anyway.
Yeah, basically. So yes, there is no buyout provision and if he does get like a job somewhere else in college athletics, the money that the Cleveland State still has to pay the offset of the money he is getting paid at his new job, other than from his old job. So, but again, none of this matters because he's got another year. He's got a new boss to impress. I mean, I want to say that he at the end of the year he kind of did right the ship. I mean, they weren't as bad, although in the 5 losses of the 5 losses that Cleveland State had during their I guess their turn towards the abyss. All but the UIC game, they
flame on.
Yeah. So all but the UIC game, at one point in time during the 4 of those 5 losses, they were down by at least 20. So I mean, I don't know what they need to fix next year, but I mean, apparently they don't have to fix a whole lot. I guess. I don't know. All I know is that if I gotta wait until February for them to do something again next year, I don't think I'm the only one who's not going to be impressed by that. Yeah. Just kind of throwing that out there. Don't wait to waiting for your team to do brilliant in February is like getting a 4.0 in your last semester of your senior year after you've been accepted to college with a 2.5.
Yeah.
Actually, in this case, probably a 2.0. So, yeah, so it's great. It's great, but I mean, you're near the end. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm sure it matters internally, but in the eyes of the world, everybody has forgotten about you. And that is the problem that we've had here for the last 2 years, that you have a situation where it's you have a Cleveland State team that has 2 years of, futility up until, near the end of the season, at which point in time nobody's paying attention. And that's the only thing I want to say about that. I think I suspect they'll do better next year, but I'll wait till that whole thing shakes out. So to hell with the rest. So the hell with the bottom of this thing. I think we've talked long enough about that.
Yeah, let's talk about the good stuff.
Let's talk about the good. Okay, so now this weekend was absolutely amazing. This last week was absolutely amazing because you had because you had Wright State, who had a one-game advantage over Northern Kentucky. They go into Green Bay and they lose, and they make things interesting. And Jimmy, your Milwaukee Panthers had the opportunity to be kingmakers in that last game on Saturday night against Wright State. And just, but it didn't happen because, Northern Kentucky ends up becoming the 2 seed, just by virtue of all the tiebreakers. And Wright State is going to be your number 1 seed. So that's going to be interesting. And so we are now in conference tournament time. We've arrived. The madness has begun, and I think everybody's said that at least 3 times already. We've said it. Neil Rule said it. A bunch of fans said it. The madness has begun.
Madness is here. I mean, people always think about March Madness as the NCAA tournament, but the term was originally created for the conference tournaments. Did you know that?
I did not know that. That's good to know. Well,
old dogs can learn new tricks.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. So before we get into the kind of the individual games, because I did want to kind of talk a little bit about I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of the end of the year awards. I think at this point in time, it's a kind of a foregone conclusion that you're looking at Player of the Year being Drew McDonald, and the Freshman of the Year is going to be Antoine Davis. I don't really. I know near the end of the season, Drew McDonald kind of had some issues with his back, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know if that was really, over the course of the entire season. I think as Players of the Year go, I really think he kind of solidified his spot a couple weeks ago. So that's kind of my conclusion. That I consider Drew McDonald to be I would pick him to be the Player of the Year, and and Antoine Davis is that's kind of a no-brainer at this point. I mean,
and I mean, I thought with his scoring he could even be in the a bit of the outskirts, but even the top of a Player of the Year.
Yeah. And we had this discussion before. When I say we, I mean it might have been in the month that you and I were not together. Yes, but there was a on the podcast we've had a discussion about whether or not Antoine Davis could be the first freshman in the history of the 40 years of the Horizon League to be Player of the Year. And he was outstanding, make no mistake about it. But it just seemed to me that in terms of kind of where he is at as a player, he is an outstanding freshman. I do think, kind of based on the resume, I think Drew McDonald kind of had the edge on him.
I think it's I think it's something that is kind of like in the NBA with the defensive player of the year and the MVP awards.
Yeah.
The MVP award is most valuable player. It doesn't say anything about being an offensive award.
Yeah.
But you'll have guys that'll be up near the top. They'll be consideration for MVP, but maybe somebody thinks somebody is just as deserving. They'll give it to voters will end up voting for the guy who's more offensively to be MVP. And they'll just give the defensive guy the defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
So that defensive player of the year might actually be a better player than the MVP.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this because James Harden sucks on defense and is a ball hog. And Giannis Antetokounmpo is the MVP. And everybody thinks
I was wondering when this was coming.
But that same relationship is in the Horizon League, because we've had a few players who would be Rookie of the Year, Freshman of the Year, Newcomer of the Year. We have a lot of people that would qualify for that award.
Mm-hmm. Oh, certainly. I mean, we've had
But
so many times.
they'll qualify for Player of the Year, but they'll end up getting the Rookie of the Year award, the Newcomer of the Year instead.
Mm-hmm.
So it happens, and it's going to happen to Antoine Davis. He's not going to be Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And I'll agree, though. I think it's ultimately because Drew McDonald's a better choice.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I think that's kind of the consensus at this point in time. I'll be interested. I don't remember if they ever break out the votes on who's. I don't think they ever did. I don't think the Horizon League ever did break out the votes on who picks who. But so that's kind of how that goes. So those are kind of the four. Those are kind of the two picks that I think are going to be, pretty universally accepted, and then we get into the all league teams. All freshman team I think is also kind of not too much mystery involved in that one. I think it's gonna be Antoine Davis, Braden Norris over at Oakland, Skylar Potter at Wright State, Rashad Williams over at Cleveland State. Who am I missing on that one? I know missing.
We're really listing off a bunch of guys that are good, but Antoine Davis is going to.
Oh, obviously, Antoine Davis is the runaway Freshman of the Year winner. So Davis, Norris, Skylar Potter, Rashad Williams, and I swear to God, I'm still missing somebody. Oh, I can't believe this. I'm missing Darius Quisenberry from Youngstown State. Yeah, wow.
I'd like to publicly.
Right after Quisenberry just lit Cleveland State up last night, I almost forget the guy. Good Lord, he came on really. Quisenberry came on real, quite a bit in the last part of the year.
I would love it if Quisenberry was the one with the first name Skylar and not Potter.
Why is that exactly?
Because the name Skylar Quisenberry would be the greatest thing I've ever heard. Hilarious. What?
I don't know where you went with that one. I'm sorry.
Saying the full name Skylar Quisenberry would be hilarious.
Okay. Well,
it doesn't matter.
I guess not. Okay.
I'm trying to be lighthearted and find things funnier. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't know where that was going, man. Usually I get it, but that one just went way over my head, man.
My coworkers have called them Jimmy jokes before.
Oh, are they a variation of dad jokes, if I may ask?
Dad jokes at least are coherent.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes make a joke that makes sense in my head. And then I'll say it out loud, and I'll wait for the laughter, and everybody's like, "What?"
I don't get it, man.
I feel like Skylar Quisenberry is one of those.
Okay, Skylar Quisenberry is a Jimmy joke. Okay, there we've coined a new phrase on here, Jimmy joke. There you go.
Oh God.
And somebody's gonna, and we've got a bunch of play-by-play guys who follow us and listen to the show. You have probably doomed at least one of them to call either Skylar Potter or Darius Quisenberry Skylar Quisenberry now. You've doomed at least one of them.
Darius Potter is Harry's long-lost cousin.
See, I got that one.
Yo, Stronum.
Yeah. See, that's what you should have did with Skylar Quisenberry. You should have put an interesting backstory, like he's the long lost nephew of former side armor and relief pitcher Dan Quisenberry. I mean, yeah, I know that. Yeah. But I don't know if that. I don't know the Harry Potter reference.
You're talking about Milwaukee could have played the spoiler.
Yes,
and I'm gonna say this. As far as another spoiler, first round of the Horizon League tournament, Wright State plays who hosts who at the Nutter Center?
That would be IUPUI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Youngstown State.
What's that now? No, it is IUPUI. Yeah,
Youngstown State so IUPUI lost the tiebreaker with Detroit and Youngstown State.
they did. Yes, IUPUI finished in 8th place. So,
So here's the problem that I ran into
okay.
is that I was using I screenshotted Google the standings on Google,
Oh dear.
and what Google does with the teams is Google will, instead of ordering them by tiebreaker,
Oh jeez.
Google will order them alphabetically if they're tied. So
Of course they
IUP.
will, which is outstanding. So yeah, so those of you Horizon League fans, pro tip here: if you're looking at the standings right now, don't go to Google.
You know what?
You will
Milwaukee
be messed up. You will be messed up thinking who. Yeah.
Cleveland State, you know what Milwaukee and Cleveland State could do right now, and would be totally legal.
What would that be?
Milwaukee and Cleveland State could schedule a bowl game and play each other in a basketball game at the end of the season.
Okay.
And it'd be totally.
What would that be
and
called? I don't know if that would be
Toilet bowl. I don't care. Like
call it the dysfunction bowl. I don't know.
Game. We could even hang a banner if we win the game. I mean, you hang the banner somewhere where it'd be funny, but
that's right. Not last place. There you go.
you get a bowling trophy or something.
Get a nice participation ribbon or something. Yeah.
The ninth the game of the ninth placers.
The game of the ninth placers. Yeah, the NIT for the Horizon League tournament.
Yeah.
Basically.
Honestly, I think that UWM may have lost last night's game because they wanted to. May have lost last night's game because they all wanted to finish 4-14.
But
because Milwaukee's area code is 414.
Oh, for crying out loud!
We can't finish 41-4, so come on.
Well, that's true. I mean, thankfully Cleveland State didn't do that on their own end because, as we know, Cleveland's area code is 216, and I don't know. It was looking like they might be 2-16 at one point in time. Thankfully, they were not. So as far as kind of the All Horizon League team, the All Conference teams. So first team, I actually had to think about this a little bit. Not for the first four. The first four I thought were pretty solid. I thought it's going to be Antoine Davis, Drew McDonald, Loudon Love. I'm going to say Xavier Hill-Mays for Oakland. And in that fifth spot, for me it was always going to be kind of a debate between Tarkus Ferguson from UIC and Tyree Appleby for Cleveland State. And just being a biased homer, I'm going to give the edge to Tyree Appleby.
Well, I know actually I will say this, I think you do give it to Tyree Appleby because he does have to shoulder so much of the load for that program.
And I'm still trying to figure out how that happened, but yeah, you're absolutely correct.
Right. So maybe obviously UIC is a better team.
Oh, of course.
10-8 to 5-13.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if Tarkus Ferguson were to, if Tarkus Ferguson were to be off the team,
yeah,
it's not like. It's not like they would be out. Like they still have Bowen. Yeah, they still have Marcus. They still have Adi.
They got Bowen. I mean, they've got they've got weapons.
They've got weapons, exactly. So
we've seen kind of we've kind of seen it already because remember that Tyree Appleby was out a couple of games. One for flu-like symptom, one because there was a big old flu going around, and there was another game he was out for because he hurt his hand, and we saw what happened. I mean, somebody else stepped in. In this case, it was Rashad Williams. But at the same time, you also then had an issue where who's handling the ball. And in one of those games, they didn't have a pure point guard on the roster in the rotation because you had Appleby out and you had Cash Thomas out. So yeah, that impact kind of, I thought, would be kind of a thing there too. So so that is my first team. I didn't know if you had any other variations on that first team there.
I don't know. Not really.
Okay. All right. I guess correctly. Awesome. So we'll find out soon enough.
No, I think that you've done a better job at this. I honestly haven't had a. Yeah, I haven't. I don't see a lot of separation.
Yeah.
Like I see them as kind of a metal best. There are a few guys that could be on there, but
sure. Yeah.
It on numbers comes down to how important you are to a team. Guys like Ferguson are good parts of good teams, and there's a whole lot of guys that are.
Oh wow! Holy cow! Wait a minute. Who did I put on that team? Oh, I'm sorry. So I put Love, McDonald, Xavier Hill-Mays,
right,
Tyree Appleby, and I forgot to put Sandy Cohen on there too.
Yeah,
because Sandy Cohen definitely needs to be on there.
Sandy Cohen, what a transfer player!
Oh, absolutely.
And also, it's nice after living with all these. I'm sorry to bring up old pains, but for all these like 5th-year players or transfers that our schools are losing to high majors. It's good to see a player of Cohen's caliber who he played for Marquette, man.
Yep.
He wasn't like the guy sitting on the bench. For him to take that opportunity, what a great thing for our one of our programs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hell, Jaquan McLeod transferred. Eventually, he left a program and eventually ended up at Green Bay after a year in JUCO. And
sure,
obviously, the program that he had initially been in when he was in Division I was so much better than Green Bay that it's really nice for Green Bay to get opportunities to have players from far better schools and far better programs let them have their talent, spread the wealth, if you will, a little bit to the lesser programs.
And I'm totally okay with that.
Lesser programs and lesser schools like UW Green Bay.
Yeah.
Bob, do you know what I'm joking about?
I don't know what now? Okay, what?
No. I said Jaquan McLeod came from a far better school.
Oh, yeah, okay. Did he? Oh, yeah, I guess he did. Maybe, I don't know.
Where did he transfer?
I do remember where he originally transferred, Jimmy. I wasn't sure, were you referring to the JUCO he transferred to?
Indian Hills?
Yeah.
Indian Hills, where he played for Tone Boyle and Chad Boudreau.
Okay.
Milwaukee people.
Okay.
Well, Chad, I think, at that point. But that is my point, is that he was basically funneled to Green Bay from Milwaukee.
Interesting.
You didn't know he played for us as a freshman?
Of course he played for you as a freshman. I knew that part.
Right. So that was my joke, is that Milwaukee was a far better program than Green Bay. And I just wanted to keep making the joke so that Jim Sarah and every Green Bay fan is just like, you know what, Jimmy, shut up.
So
I love you. You guys are the best.
Now the big challenge for me was going to be the second team. I got some names there that I want to put in there. Cameron Justice from IUPUI and Tarkus Ferguson. Obviously, I have those two as my picks. for the second team. I was also looking at oh crud. I want to say, let's see here, because I have to think about this for a minute. And I definitely want to say Darius Quisenberry with his performance this year as a freshman. I think he makes second team all league. And the other two, because I'm trying to remember who I had originally, and I'm drawing a blank, of course.
I think here let me comment on a couple of them.
Yeah.
Cameron Justice.
Yeah.
I would definitely call him borderline first team.
Okay. Yeah.
He scores 19 points a game.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He's a very, very good.
Oh, he really is. He absolutely is.
So that's one.
Yeah.
You're also putting on Tarkus Ferguson.
Yes, that's correct.
Obvious choice. He's top 10 in rebounding.
Yeah.
He's top 10 in scoring right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
he
more assists than him is Tyree Appleby, right?
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
So,
you are correct.
So honestly, I mean, Tarkus Ferguson, if he's not on the first team, he's the sixth guy.
Absolutely.
Because he puts numbers on a team that wins.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, obviously that's kind of where I was going with that too. So for the other three, like I said, I was thinking Darius Quisenberry potentially, but I was also looking at. I was really also looking at perhaps Javen Cumberland from Oakland.
Yeah.
He's a good one to look at. Billy Wampler is I consider him my dark horse pick for second team.
I will say this. So Billy Wampler has come off the bench a bunch for Wright State this year.
He has, absolutely.
Is Billy Wampler not a strong argument that the HoriZone League should have a Sixth Man of the Year award?
That's interesting because you've seen it so many times. You've seen it so many times over the years where the sixth man has probably been one of the the recognition?
Honestly,
where's the love for those guys? Come on.
Yeah, you have a Sixth Man of the Year, you have Sixth Woman of the Year in the women's league, and it would be a fun time.
Sure. So that would be I would say
it's worth the extra couple glass awards you have to print off. Do it.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, it's not that it's not that hard. Come on, you're killing us here.
Just like we should have a third team all conference. A Milwaukee friend of mine, named Paul Spicuzza, and I have had a running conversation for over 10 years about how the HoriZone League is absolutely ready to have an all conference third team.
Sure, got enough people.
Honestly, let's do it. It's us.
Sure. Well, we could do that, but it's going to take me forever.
We're not the HoriZone League. Well, just some names off the top of your head.
What?
Let's just assume.
I haven't even named the second team yet. I think I had. Who did I have? I had Cameron Justice.
Yeah, you said Cameron Justice from UI. You had Tarkus at UIC. You put Billy Wampler on there and Darius.
I did. And I think the fifth one, I couldn't remember who it was.
From Oakland.
What's that now? Who?
You said Javen Cumberland.
I did say Javen Cumberland. Yeah. So, you can make an argument for all those guys. And then if we had a third team, and so this is
those guys.
There we go. The HoriZone Roundtable presents the HoriZone League.
Third team.
The third team.
All conference third team.
All right. So if we're looking at that, I am going to put it. So if we have a third team, I'm going to
come up with two, and then we debate as far as who the fifth one is.
All right. So I am thinking as far as on this third team, I start with Darius Roy for Milwaukee. I start with him.
That's fantastic. I have no problems with that choice.
Okay.
Top 5 assists, top 10 in points. That's the star player of his team.
Yes.
Yeah,
You can, and
absolutely.
again, you can make an argument for him being second team too, but we're going to put him on. Again, we are labeling this, we are branding this. The HoriZone Roundtable presents the All HoriZone League third team.
HoriZone League third team.
All right.
Yes.
The second person, the second name I have for our team, the second person I would put on there would be Cole Gentry from White State.
Really?
I would put Cole Gentry on there.
Top 10 in assists.
Yes.
And I think he's on the. He
averages 12. He's 20th. He averages 12.
Averages 12 a game, which isn't as much as Loudon, who's already on the team, and it's not as much as Billy Wampler, who we put on the second team.
Yes. All right. So that's the name. So that is the name. The second name I have on there. So
okay. So my names.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with DeAndre Abram from Milwaukee.
Okay.
Scores, DeAndre scores about the same as Gentry.
Okay.
But he's also top 5 in rebounding.
This is true. Okay. Okay. I would probably. Okay.
I was gonna say my second player that I would choose. Would be Naz Bohannon.
Naz Bohannon, yes.
And I'll say why. You got a clean glass.
Yes. Naz Bohannon is an interesting choice, and given
I see.
You know what?
I think it's good to have defensive presences on it.
Okay. And I am not going to argue with you on Naz Bohannon for the rebounding thing, and more selfishly, Naz Bohannon and I hail from the same city. We are both from the town. We are both from the city of Lorain, Ohio.
I thought you were going to say the city of Quisenberry, Ohio.
No. Naz Bohannon is the pride of Lorain High School, which, by the way, used to be. There used to be 3 high schools in Lorain, and they just squished them all down to Lorain High School.
Because the baby boomers didn't need to go to high school anymore.
Or everybody ran away from Lorain, and my parents are the only ones who live there anymore. But yes.
Which one's the mayor?
Huh?
Which parent is the mayor?
Wow. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out when But anyway, yes. Yeah, so Naz Bohannon, by the way. So yeah, I will give you Naz Bohannon on the strength of on both the strength of his rebounding, which is highly important, and his hometown.
But really, Bohannon's so huge.
Yeah.
For giving, Youngstown State would not be in. I watched 5 Youngstown State games front to back in the HoriZone League this year, and there are plenty of games. I think they were 3-2 in them. I'd have to come up with a list and talk about it later. And I'll bring it up in the next. But they would not have made it if they would not have won those games if Bohannon had not gotten huge offensive rebounds at critical times.
Sure.
On shots missed by Youngstown State. What I'm saying is Naz Bohannon's his rebounding is important, but he cleans the offensive glass. He is literally a ticket to getting you the winning one of the 4 factors in a game every time.
I also like to point out the fact that Naz Bohannon also is 12th in the league in assists as well. He has 2.9 assists a game.
Right.
I mean, he's got, that's huge for a big guy to have, to be on the offensive, to be on the glass, and to be able to, dish out the scores too. So
we had Kyle Kelm was like that for us. So, in fact, next week I'm gonna end up going to the state championship basketball games.
There you go.
And the last time I was at state was when Kyle Kelm was a senior at Randolph High School.
Oh wow, okay.
And as the center of Randolph High School, he almost had a triple double.
Ah, okay.
He had 9 assists.
Interesting. All right. So okay, how many are we up to here? So we both picked Darius Roy.
Yeah.
I picked Cole Gentry.
Darius
you picked
Roy,
DeAndre
Gentry,
Abram.
DeAndre Abram, and Naz Bohannon, and we're going to decide the fifth.
We're going to
And
decide
I'm going
the
to
fifth.
come up with one, and you tell me yes or no.
Okay, let's hear it.
Jaquan McLeod.
Jaquan McLeod.
Or Marcus Adi. I don't know. I like Marcus Adi, too. Or Bowen.
Honestly, I would have...
I think Bowen and Adi work against each other.
Yeah. I actually would have went with Jalen Tate.
Really?
I would have went with Jalen Tate, just based on the fact he's actually, because he's averaged more, because because Jalen Tate,
he's 5 assists, isn't he?
Oh, what's that? He's 6th in the 6th. He's 6th in assists in the league.
And he averages almost, I think he averages like 5 rebounds too.
I believe he does, yes.
It's like 5.5 rebounds. You'd have to
like
check
that,
up on the number.
So I would.
Right.
You said how many? I'm sorry. Jalen Tate. Yeah, he averages 4.5.
4.5. Yeah.
So he's top 10. So he's top 10. He's top 6 in assists. He averages 4.5 or 4.5, and he averages 14 points a game. That's the argument I make for. That would be the argument I make for Jalen Tate over Jaquan McLeod. I think overall, in terms of his overall game, I think Jalen Tate it brings more to the table this season. Brought more to the table this season than Jaquan McLeod. And that is my argument.
I'm trying to think of like what my response will be to it, and I think it'd make a pretty solid case. I'll let you have it.
Okay, there you go. Especially since you already have 2 Milwaukee guys on this third team anyway.
Put the whole team on there.
All right, so there you go. So there you have it, everyone.
Vance Johnson should be on the 4th team.
What's that now?
Vance Johnson should be on the All Horizon League 4th team.
Oh my God. We're not doing a 4th team, man. So there you have it, everyone. The HoriZone Roundtable presents, I think, the Horizon League, All Horizon League 3rd team being Darius Roy, DeAndre Abram, Naz Bohannon, Cole Gentry, and Jalen Tate. There you go.
All conference 13 players. There
all
you go.
Conference 13 player. Sadly, guys, that we don't have. We don't have the capabilities of printing anything out and sending things out to you. But
maybe we can make like a social media badge for them.
There you go. Jimmy, you get on that one.
Something they can retweet from the Horizon.
We know where everybody is, and we know it. Yeah, we know where you guys are. I think we follow all of you on Twitter. So
I'll make a defensive player of the year. We'll give Sandy Cohen defensive player of the year.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, Sandy Cohen is definitely. Yeah, he definitely would be. Yeah, he's definitely defensive player of the year this year. I mean, so that is. So, well, yeah. So kind of to wrap everything up. Obviously, we've got the games that are going to actually happen. We've got Wright State and IUPUI. And we've got the top games. We've got Wright State and IUPUI and Northern Kentucky and Detroit. Just given the fact that Northern Kentucky kind of blew the doors off of Detroit in the first in both of their games. Honestly, even with the issues that Drew McDonald is having with his back, I still think they win that one handily.
I mean, Northern Kentucky, just to throw it out there, has the best scoring differential in the conference.
Yeah,
in fact, it's 2 points a game better than Wright State. So naturally, along with that, they have the widest scoring margin between them and their opponent.
Yeah.
Detroit has a negative scoring margin of 3.
Yeah.
It's a 12-point difference.
Yeah.
Drew McDonald's replacement will do fine in the starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be that big of a deal.
No.
Obviously, Northern Kentucky should win that game.
They will. I think I think Detroit's issue is, as I mentioned at the beginning of the season, I think they've kind of ran out of gas, and you kind of saw that near the end of the season where they kind of started running out of gas over there, and that's I mean, not any fault of their own. I mean, basically, Mike Davis kind of had to put this team together on the fly. With the, maybe a couple of holdovers notwithstanding. I mean, it is a very, to me, it's actually a very impressive first year for them. So, but I don't, I think it ends for them.
I'm just imagining Mike Davis on the sideline, being like, just like a kid's game.
Yeah.
Then you get like the kids movie from the 90s, and they're like, you're fired, coach. We need a new coach. And somebody's like, you, Antoine's dad, you come coach this team.
Yeah.
Like, he brings his son, and like every dad, like every terrible sports dad in movies and television, you have Mike Davis on the sideline. Pass the ball to Antoine! Pass the ball to Antoine! Instead of like specific plays.
And Wright State, IUPUI, Wright State, I think beats them. I do. Yeah, so because IUPUI they also kind of ran out of gas near the end. I mean, so the two games I was looking at, the ones that I'm looking at with great interest are that 3-6 game and that 4-5 game. The Oakland Youngstown State game. They split that series, and both of those games are really close. I
think the new format favors Oakland.
Yeah, I think it does too.
Because
Plus, I really do. The other
yeah.
thing too with Oakland is they finished the season a little strong. They actually finished the season out stronger than Youngstown State. Youngstown State had, they went on that 6-game tear. And then they they lost at Northern Kentucky and Wright State, and then they lose at home to Cleveland State. So I think, had that not happened, I think they would have actually, I would favor them a little bit more. I think they've got I think Jared Calhoun's doing, it looks like he's turned it around over there. But I don't think they're there yet, and I think Oakland's chomping at the bit to prove something. So I think they definitely pull that one out.
I mean, I think that their past success in the last couple of years in the HoriZone League tournament is kind of flukish, and it favored them in games, against that. It was they were the ones that beat Oakland, right?
They were. Yes, that's true.
So when they beat Oakland. I think that Oakland was suffering from something that other teams weren't in the conference.
Yeah.
And I don't know this to be fact at all, but I feel like Oakland kind of like they looked a lot during that game that they were expecting the win.
Yeah.
So Youngstown State took advantage of it. That's not going to be the case this time.
No, they're definitely going to be expecting that. Absolutely.
Because you don't have the break. The in the past years they had almost a week of rest between games, whereas the teams that they played had played Tuesday and Friday. So for Oakland to also be sitting at home, I feel like they definitely got complacent, didn't get out. So obviously it's too late here, but I'd be really interested to know if Oakland decided to put up their players in a hotel like every other team for the whole week.
Really?
I would love to know if they because that would be something that I would do.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to keep the team focused, stay in a hotel, focus all on basketball over this week.
Okay.
So that you don't lose to Youngstown State.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens this time.
No.
Because Oakland is playing Youngstown State. It's both of their first games.
Yeah. This is true. This is very true.
And they're not out, and yes, they're at home, but they still have that constant, every few days game.
Yeah.
So I think Oakland should definitely win that game.
I agree. I think they will as well. And so the other one is You got
UIC
UIC and Green Bay.
and Green Bay.
Now that one's going to be a good one. I think Green Bay's got and again they split the series. I think that Green Bay. I think Green Bay takes advantage. This is where the home field advantage comes into play, and I think Green Bay comes through here.
So, naturally from watching both teams during the season, you definitely think that, okay, Green Bay will be able to get out and get running right away, and start, do quick possessions, put the ball in the hoop, get back on defense, and they'll just make it a track meet that UIC won't be able to beat them on. That's the conventional wisdom, that's how Green Bay will beat UIC is by running them out of the gym. But my feeling is I don't really know if UIC can get run out of the gym. I think that UIC can either slow it down, or you can get your quick guys because they've got quick guys.
Well, I mean,
maybe keep it up.
Yeah. So that's going to be. I don't know. That is going to be
it's
interesting.
I
would say it is because it was a toss-up. It really was. It pretty much was a toss-up for the games that they had anyway in the regular season. Because the one game the game in UIC, the game at UIC, Green Bay won 60. Only won by a point. So I mean, it's. So it stands to reason that they could definitely do the same thing here. I
don't want to get into predicting things because one thing in the HoriZone League, we all know that predictions are garbage.
Yes, I know, and I just made a whole boatload of them, so I'm awesome. So. But the beauty of it is, but remember the beauty of it is, So I'm sorry, I was incorrect. I'm sorry. Green Bay actually swept UIC. So. We gotta.
One
Green Bay actually
game by like a point or two.
Yeah, well, the game at Green Bay won by 5, and then the game at UIC, Green Bay won by a single point. So
that's the game I remember.
Well, here's the other thing too, and you got to remember this: the turnaround time to go all the way up to Green Bay, which I guess if you're UIC, probably isn't as bad. It probably isn't as bad as if it was, say, Detroit going up to Green Bay or Youngstown State going up to Green Bay. But
yeah, for sure, it's only a 3-hour drive.
That's
depending
true.
on traffic in the greatest city in the world.
There you go.
Ozaki, Wisconsin.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
I have no idea where that is, so I would probably be...
Ozaki is the county directly north of Milwaukee.
Okay.
It's sparsely populated, so that's why I made the joke. I said the greatest city in the world, so people would think I was saying Milwaukee.
We're getting a lot of those Jimmy jokes in today, aren't we?
Hey, it's my thing now. Anyways, but we should definitely be wrapping up.
Yeah, on that last note, let's go ahead and wrap this up. So, as always, the episodes of the HoriZone Roundtable, you can find those on sportshacks.com, HAX.com, and you can find us wherever you find podcasts. You name it, it's there. Unless there's a new podcast app I'm not aware of that we didn't get into yet, but we're just everywhere. And just holler at your Amazon Echo or your Google Home devices and say, "Hey, I want the HoriZone Roundtable podcast," and give it to me.
Alexa, play HoriZone Roundtable, and then she plays it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that thankfully I use my my Amazon Echo, because if I was playing that out loud somewhere, my Amazon Echo would turn on right now. So there you go. So congratulations, you get to hear this show again. So anyway, thanks for listening. And remember next week.
Wait, hold on. Let's do like a 3, 2, 1, and then start it.
Yeah, because
it's like a Wayne's World 3, 2, and then you go.
All right, so let's do this one more time then.
Okay. So do that so that Damien knows where to cut it off. So
I don't even know where that. Yeah, so it'll be at the 3, 2, 1, and that's it for this week. And thank you for listening.
Hey, everybody, thanks. Enjoy the Horizon League tournament.
Right. Enjoy it without us.
Yes, we won't be there.
That's right.